Have you ever gotten in trouble for something like, I don't know, putting your hand in the cookie jar and get a slap on the wrist and just kind of walk away? Well, that's the exact kind of thing that's been happening with this judge. Mom who admitted to smothering toddler while high on meth walks free thanks to controversial judge. So this judge seems to be very known for his leniency on his sentencing, or just basically no sentencing at all. Smothering your own fucking child and walking free, like just stop free. It's completely asinine in my personal opinion. Like, I understand the concept of like, oh, this person is on hard drugs, they need help, or they need to be rehabilitated, but this is murder. Like, bro, like, it's actually just straight up murder. Like, this, it doesn't matter if they were on meth, they need to be put away. And it's also kind of weird because when you watch the video, she actually seems like she's confused. She's like, what the fuck? She's like, she wants to be put away. She should be put away. She's like having better judgment than the judge. So anyway, I'm going to show you some clips of that real quick and take a look at that.
Court accordingly enters judgment of not guilty, reluctantly. I do hope that you will take the opportunity to get the counseling that you need, to get the counseling for the children that you need.
It's kind of crazy because why? I just don't understand. Like, there's so many reasons to not do drugs, and we've learned that throughout the years, and people have always told us don't do drugs, even just my generation and the one before, especially methamphetamine. Like, meth in general is just a crazy fucking drug. Like, there's so many other things you could be doing. Smoking marijuana has basically no repercussions. Besides, I mean, don't drive and do drugs. That's my number one thing. Is like, don't get behind the wheel if you're drunk. Don't get behind the wheel if you're high. Just don't do that shit. Methamphetamine, like the fact that people still do meth and think it's like, I don't know. How do you even start with that? How do you start with heroin? Yeah, so anyway, this story goes a little bit deeper because this judge has gotten people off of a hard sentence before. Let's take a look at something else that this judge did that people didn't like. Friends of fallen Indianapolis Metropolitan Police Department officer Breanne Leath have started an online petition calling for Mark Stoner, the judge who handed down a controversial punishment to her convicted killer, to resign. Over the last few days, more than 1,600 signatures have signed an online petition calling for justice for Breanne Leath. It just hurts. It was very hurtful, said Kennedy Hampton. Hampton, one of Leath's best friends, remains heartbroken that Stoner sentenced Elias Dorsey to 25 years in prison, in addition to time served in probation, instead of the 63-year maximum punishment requested by prosecutors. Dorsey was convicted of reckless homicide for killing Officer Leath, as well as the attempted murder of his girlfriend. So if you're not receiving the maximum punishment for killing cops, like legitimately being a cop killer, then what are we receiving the maximum punishment for? I just think that it's a little bit underhanded. I understand being generous and kind. I always talk about how people should have more empathy. I'm on my TikTok every day talking about how people should have more empathy. I think this is a little bit too empathetic. I think like caring too much about, you know, a murderer, or yeah, literally caring too much about a murderer who murdered their own child, who murdered a police officer in cold blood. And I don't really support the police. I mean, I avoid authority like it's the plague. I like, I'm gonna get COVID again if I see a cop. I genuinely just avoid them. It's not that I think they're all bad. I do believe one bad apple spoils a batch. I think there's plenty of people that need help occasionally, but I've just never needed a cop, and I never will, bro. Overall with this story, Judge Stoner, I think you definitely need to reconsider your options for your career path, because I don't think you have it in you to be a judge. You're letting people off the hook, and that's not okay, especially since they murdered their own child and a police officer. There's multiple accounts. Over so many petitions signed for you to resign, and I definitely think you should take that advice and resign. That's kind of most of the story there. I'm sure there's probably more accounts of him just letting people off the hook. But so anyway, leave a like, hit the subscribe button. I'll see you in the next video. See ya. Complete.